Hello and welcome back to Kevin Can't Play Today, the game show where everybody always loses. I'm your host Kevin, and today we're going to do a video on a game that I am totally enamored with and am borderline addicted to, HARDSPACE Shipbreaker. Um, this game for me is a lot of fun. Not really suited for a series, so this is just going to be a one-off to show you off the game. Um, yeah, we're going to get that started. I'll get rid of this and we'll go. So we're going to do an open shift game, which I've already been playing a career in. I do have a standard game on my laptop that I play at work, but yeah, open shift is a little bit more casual experience. Still a lot of work, but a little bit more casual. So we're going to go with that. And we are going to go with oxygen drain disabled. You can still lose oxygen if your helmet gets damaged, but you don't. In standard, you go through it pretty quickly, and you're always running back to the hab to get more O2. So yeah, already in a career on this one, so which gives us enough stuff to kind of show what's going on. But the standard and the harder modes are their own interesting experience. With a little bit, if you're more high pressure type, those work great. If you're not, well, open shift is fine. Yeah, I'm going to go through what you have access to. This is your hab module. This is where you spend time in between shifts. As you can see, our current debt is still well over $1 billion that we have to pay off before we actually start making money. And you pay around about $500,000 every shift in rental and such. Renting your equipment, stuff like that. So here's your equipment screen. You got your cutter, which actually has two functions, which we will be seeing both of those. And they do take durability damage over time. I've currently upgraded all mine, except for I think the demo charges to take slower durability drain. They're a little bit hardier. Our handheld grapple, which is how we move everything around, and it's got a couple different features which we'll see. Your thrusters, that's your just base move to and fro. Right now they're still in pretty good shape, so I'm not going to repair them. I generally only repair stuff if it's under 80%. And our scanner, which allows us to kind of get a x-ray view of the ship, which again we'll see that in practice. Your helmet, which is important, and your suit, which are important, and demo charges, which we haven't unlocked yet in this career, but we'll get that next level, which we might get it by the end of this. We're pretty close. Here's our bar up here. We're only about 6,000 away from being ranked rank 11, which I think gives us our demo charges. Going to upgrades, yeah, because okay, yeah, demo charge license is level 11, so we'll have that here soon, and this allows us to cut through harder stuff than our laser cutter can go through. Our suit, these are our upgrades. You've got a lot here: suit integrity, heat resistance, cryo resistance, electrical, audio resynth, which is I actually haven't played with yet. I just bought it, so it's supposed to let us actually hear stuff while in space. Our scanner has a bunch of basically everything has a bunch of different upgrades. Some of which I haven't unlocked because I can't afford them. They're all useful, and you never quite seem to get enough points to get everything you want anymore. But yeah, there's that. Data recovery. You find some stuff on the on the ships you break, and you can review what they say here. Messages, emails from the company, and whatnot. Certifications. Used to be a little bit more something you'd check out, but in the new update, I've kind of gotten rid of A lot of the more detailed stuff. It used to be you had specific work orders to fill out to level up, so you need to get X amount of you need to get like 15 airlocks to rank up, amongst other things. But now they've just kind of put it as a generic point system, which I'm kind of on the fence about. It does make things just easier on leveling because you're just straight putting in the work, you get ranked up instead of having to look for specific things. But I also kind of miss that too. So yeah, I'm still kind of on the fence about that. Stickers are fun. You collect stickers as you do stuff. As you can see, some of these I'm almost close to that one. I almost got that one unlocked. Um, well, let's find an unlocked one, and I'll show you. So yeah, you actually get to put them on your on your gear. I think I have this one over here on my grapple. But yeah, it's kind of a neat system. Kind of you unlock various stickers as you go, and you can put them on your ship, or on your not your ship, but on your equipment. So you can actually see them in game. It's kind of neat. But anyway, a little bit more explanation about the update in case you played this previously and haven't played it recently, and you're wondering if it's worth getting back into. It is. There's the ships they've added a lot to the ships. There's new ships. They've changed some of the ships. Some of them you couldn't break apart very easily, or even at all at certain levels, but you still had access to them. They've kind of gotten rid of that. They made some ships easier at earlier levels. So the big ships that you kind of needed, um, the demo charges before, but still couldn't get demo charges. You don't need it anymore. But yeah, we're going to go all the way back to the beginning here. Pick an easy ship so we can kind of move through it pretty quickly. Even though these are barely worth it at this point. So anyway, these are the early ships. Oops, I think I just selected on accident. Oops. Oh well. We'll go for it. Whatever we just got, we'll do it. So the earlier ships start off very simple, so this should be a breeze with all of our upgrades. Hell, I don't even know if this has engine nacelles on it. It's such a simple little ship. Just don't know if it's a cargo or a... Okay, it's a light cargo. I think this is the one we want. So yeah, you don't even have to deal with a lot of stuff. Like, the airlock is already stripped out. So you don't have to worry about it being pressurized or not. We will double check here real quick. Yep. It's all red, which means it's all depressurized. Those red little symbols there behind the like compartment, airlock and stuff, they'll be green if that area is pressurized. And that's a whole different can of worms, but also a neat challenge and puzzle. We actually have this upgraded so we can actually look at objects, which there is one valuable object on this ship, which is the thruster nozzle. So yeah, this is a very bare bones ship. Shouldn't take us too long to bust apart. Yeah, got the little thrusters on the back, so this is a very short range little cargo. Yeah, we got nothing else on the outside, so nothing to strip off there. I always like going from the outside in, kind of like peeling an onion or a potato. Generally makes it easier. Yeah, oh hell, even the airlock's not even here. It's just an open inner shell compartment. Nothing to... What's back there? Is that a thing? No, that's not a thing. So yeah, this doesn't have doors or locks or nothing. So this is very rudimentary compared to what I've been working with lately. Yeah, hell, even the cockpit doesn't even have anything in it. So yeah, this is just the shell, it looks like. There's no... pretty much no inner workings at all. What we got back here? Yeah, we got nothing there. We don't even have the thruster itself. We just have the thruster nozzle, the thruster cap. Hell, I might do another one later. If you guys like this one and want to see one of the later ships, those though do take a lot longer to break apart. This one should, it'll also give you an idea of the game though, and I kind of want to, I've been kind of wanting to stress test a little bit, see what the um, recording can handle. So we're going to take just a second to step away. Let me break here. Yeah, everything seems to be running fine. So yeah, doing really good so far. Can handle my laptop can barely even run the game. So yeah, this thanks again to my buddies that have helped me out with this new computer, so we can see such beautiful games. Yeah, let's take a look around our bay here. This is our little workstation here. There's our hab that we live in called the Master Jack, because these are all called jacks, and these are things we can kind of rig to if we need to. On our right here, the bluish area, that's the processor that handles some of the stuff. The furnace, which handles other things, and the barge, which is kind of like the more valuable objects. And there we have the Earth and I don't know, what is this, 2800? I guess it's set in. But yeah, very beautiful game. There's the moon. There's the rail gate over there. A bunch of different, halves. Looks like another breaker over there. But yeah, really pretty game. I sometimes just like sitting out here. One of the reasons I also don't like the oxygen drain is because I can just sometimes just sit out here and kind of look around. You'll see little ships like right there, kind of just coming through. And then you'll sometimes see bigger ships passing by. Just really pretty, really relaxing too. That's why I kind of don't like the more high stress, high pressure versions of the game, just because I like just sometimes sitting out here and see what's passing by. But yeah, we're going to get the one thing of any real value, and you'll have little cutting points which are holding stuff together, which these two clamps are holding on to thruster cap, which we will then grab with our grappler, and the grappler can boost away. It's kind of like the repulsor gun in Brain Fart Subnautica. If you've played that, you get kind of an idea of how that runs. So yeah, we're not really going to be dealing with the barge at all, because anything that goes on the barge is pretty much not on this ship. So we're just going to be breaking this one apart, peeling it apart, selling off the chunks. There's our cutter. Here's our grapple. And here's our tethers. This is the option of the other option on the grapple. This allows us to basically set a grapple point between two things, and it tries to pull it as close as it can, and that'll pull that right into the processor. And you can chain them together sometimes to make some pretty interesting daisy chains. And I like to go from the bow to stern. So we're going to enter this compartment here. Sometimes you have to cut into these too, and sometimes they're still pressurized, so you got to be kind of careful. That's where using your scanner here is very helpful. Also, your scanner shows you cutting points in bright yellow, more solid can't cut in the orange, and then pretty much everything else is cuttable. And then our option for this is we have a saw cutter, which I will be showing you a bit more later, and it can go vertical or horizontal. But for right now, we're just going to melt these away, because these aren't worth anything. These cutting points. It's weird actually hearing sound now. That audio resynth I added to the suit's kind of neat. All right, so we're going to push this panel out. All right. Get us some room to get that out the way. Our thrusters are pretty powerful, but some of the bigger chunks on the bigger ships you can't move like that. We forgot to buy fuel before we left the hab. But yeah, again, I'll just suck that sucker in there. We're gonna go for a twofer next. Show you how you can kind of daisy chain these together sometimes. So we're gonna cut 2 of these sections. And my stinger here, I've got extended range on, so can't quite shoot all the way that far normally, but we can right now. So we're going to attach this one to this one, and we're going to send them both about that way, and get some practice in to figure out what angles to shoot stuff off at. So that one's getting red because it's getting a little, yeah, basically it's overextended a little bit. It's trying to do something it's not supposed to, and it broke. So that didn't quite work out. So we're going to have to send another one to get it over the threshold. Once it gets past a certain threshold near these, they will suck in, but you gotta get them close enough. And as you get stuff sent away to be processed, or to the barge to be hauled off, in case of like computer consoles and stuff, you'll get up at the top, you'll see the ship name, its type, and a bar. Every time something goes through, we'll see that in a second. We'll disconnect that tether. We can cancel tethers anytime we want to. After that gets sucked in, watch at the top, that bar will fill up a little bit as soon as that goes through. Should be any second. Yeah, there it goes. Oh, and we got, that gave us our first stage, our first salvage goal. So, das ist gut. Shoot through here into this compartment. Ow. Bonk our head on where the airlock usually goes. Yeah, sometimes we have to remove some of this before we can even get to... Yeah, depending on what's in the ship and where it's placed, depends on what kind of challenges you'll be facing. You gotta watch out with the cutter because it can overheat and burn you, and that's bad. It's painful. One time isn't going to kill you, but it's going to make you wish you hadn't done it. We'll send that chunk off. So there are some dangers. There's also like different electronics can hurt you. If they get damaged, they can electrify, and that sucks. Reactors are an interesting challenge. You gotta kind of, once a reactor is disconnected from the ship, it starts to melt down. So you gotta make sure you have a pretty clear path for it to get the heck out the way, and those go down to the barge. So you want to make a pretty clear path from where it is to the barge. Otherwise, that can give you a really bad day. Fuel tanks can rupture, and that can give you a really bad day. So you want to avoid that. But it's all an interesting challenge, and you gotta be kind of strategic with it. Yeah, and it tells you whether it goes to a processor or the furnace. And sometimes it'll be a piece that has both. It'll have parts, parts of it that need to go to the processor and parts of it that need to go to the furnace. And if it's either too finicky or too difficult to separate those, well, you gotta just pick which one you're sending it to, and you'll lose out on some points from some stuff, but hey, salvage goal number 2. Yeah, so sometimes you just gotta have, like, usually if there's stuff like nacelles that have mounts on them, engine nacelles that have mounts on them that go to the furnace, whereas everything else goes to either the barge or the processor. And usually the mounts aren't really big enough to be worth trying to separate them. So it's fine to just sacrifice a few points there. Like, you also saw me cutting, little, I call them 2x2s because they look like wooden 2x2s that connect stuff almost annoyingly. Yeah, again, those aren't, some of these things aren't really worth the amount of energy it takes to get them separate. So it's easier just to either cut them or melt them. Alright, now we're going to send this big hunk out. We're going to kind of grab it and help ease it away from the stern there so that it doesn't spin too much. Which it is doing anyway. Did I not separate it enough? It still looks too connected. What did I miss? Oh, did I miss that one? No? What did I miss? What did I miss? What did I miss? Why is it still seemingly so connected? What is that? No, that's not it. Oh, duh. There we go. Now it should. Now it should be separate. Let's try and shift it and see. Yeah, okay, now it's loose. Excuse me. Allergies are terrible right now around here. There we go. Now that pulls free. Well, we got it kind of cockeyed, but it doesn't really matter. It's all going to the same spot.
Deposit accepted.
Like I said, some things go some places, some go others. Oh, you can reel in with your tether too. Alright, now we'll get back to doing this the right way. Since I'm an idiot and forgot a cut point. That should come free, yep. Yeah, the push function is pretty nice for these lighter panels. You can just kind of give it a little bit of a push and off it goes. Yeah, in terms of actual space-like mobility, this game's pretty good. It's not 100% zero-G, as I believe that there's some kind of field, gravitational field that kind of tries to keep stuff more or less in one spot. So we'll go out this way. Got that a little bit. Oh, well, touched it anyway. Come on, stop. So things will slow down and stop eventually, but having your little thruster brakes is always nice. I use them a lot, especially when you're dealing with like some heavier stuff to shift. I basically just always got the brake on when I'm actually doing stuff. Because also when the cutter's in this mode, it actually has a recoil, so you gotta be kind of mindful of that. You kind of want your brakes on when you're doing that. So I've just gotten the habit of pretty much always being on my brakes when I'm doing anything important. Alright, so there goes that section. We only have one tether left, and we're running low on fuel, so we will be going back to the hab for supplies here in a minute. We'll at least get this chunk off. little further down so it doesn't bump again. Alright, and we're out of tethers, so we're going to go back to the hab and buy some tethers and buy some fuel. Also need to check to see if I need to buy any repair kits. Because you can only buy them outside, but you can only repair your stuff inside. It's kind of weird, but that's how you do.
Welcome to Vendatron 9000.
So we're going to check our inventory real quick. Yeah, we're down to 4, so we're going to buy 1. There's only 5 things you really need to repair, so I always like to have 5 kits. No, buy some tethers. Buy some Nova fuel. On credit, of course, because it just adds to my debt. So when you sign on to be a cutter, you do take on a lot of debt. A lot of different fees and stuff, and some of them are interest. You got interest you got to worry about, and paying off, and such as that. So yeah, you start in debt as a cutter at about 1.2 billion credits in debt. So every ship you break lowers that debt a little bit, and hopefully you make more in a shift than your various interests and rentals. So you want to at least break even. Hey, we have fully salvaged it according to the company. That's all the company requires, but we're going to keep going because that's just more money. So yeah, here's the big cutter. We're going to cut one of these panels to kind of show you a big cut. So yeah, this is a good way to get some of these inner panels, especially taken apart into more manageable bite-sized pieces. Because the lighter the piece, the easier it is to maneuver. Like I'd probably have to use a tether if I was going to do the entire stretch, but 2 sections like this I can pretty much manage with just the grapple. We're gonna get kind of into position and fire it off. But see, it goes pretty slow if it's a big enough piece. What's that over there? Is that a thing? That looks like a thing. It's just garbage. I might need a tether anyway. We're going to go ahead and do that. That's moving a little too slow. And then yeah, these are the other little like 2x2s I was talking about at the stern. They're annoyingly sticky, I guess. They kind of hold stuff together whether they look like they're supposed to or not. So part of the fun of the game is learning where these cutting points are that you want to hit. Okay, so this section's all loose, and this one I'm just going to go ahead and tether out because it's a heavy enough chunk. The tether's just going to make the job a lot easier. Taking that whole section pretty nicely. These inner aluminum sections are pretty light compared to the outer shell. They're also not worth a whole heck of a lot, so if you ruin one, you don't have to be too sad about it. Sometimes you have to cut through them anyway, cut a hole, good sized hole in them anyway to get to the inner compartments, or the outer compartments of the ship. That one's process. That one is past the threshold, so it'll start getting sucked in. Or the event horizon, as I like to call it. Alright, now for something a little funky. Some things you gotta be a little precise on. Like the front glass. I mean, it's not worth a whole lot if you just want to throw the whole thing through, the whole outer nose piece through without removing the glass. But it's worth a decent chunk. So, yeah, it depends on where you're sitting at for supplies and stuff. Sometimes it might just not be worth it to try and fiddle this out. Just to try, you gotta be kind of precise if you want to get the most out of it. Oh, hey, cool. The whole thing came. Oh, wait, no, I already do a cut in the middle. Alright. I found that sometimes doing a cut in the middle makes it go a little bit faster. Sometimes it can be kind of fiddly about how attached it is.
Material deposited.
Are you stuck over there? Is it stuck? I get stuck. I think it's too far away for me to grab right now. There we go. That's just ease it on in there. It's almost 100 kilos of glass, so you saw how thick that stuff is. So if you got the time and you got the materials, your equipment's still in good shape, it can be totally worth it, especially on these mackerel classes, to cut the glass out. On the javelins, kind of the cockpit glasses, so it's more of a cage setup with the kind of like an old school fighter plane or something. So yeah, panels, smaller panels mixed in, kind of a cage setup. So I just set the whole thing of the processor. I don't even worry about the glass involved. It's not worth it to try and remove each of those panes, because it's a pain when you try and do it. Alright, so now the entire interior of the cockpit is out. That's a method I've perfected over time, getting the kind of corner pieces melted. And then the interior just kind of falls apart. Makes it a lot easier to remove the internal panels that way. Alright, that burned up. Those burned up, so that's the last piece right there. Yep, and we are done. So yeah, but that very top bar, you will see the yellow portion is all the stuff that's been processed. The red portion is the stuff that's destroyed, and the black portion is or blank portion is undetermined. So sometimes it overestimates how much you were supposed to have, and sometimes it's just stuff just goes flying off into space. You can't recover it, so that doesn't count as destroyed, but it's gone anyway. Anyway, so that's we got one ship completely busted up, so we're gonna go back to our shift, our hab, and end our shift. This kind of gives you a idea of what you did. So you know, we lost that much of these things, so not a whole lot. An equipment mount, Equipment mount. What did we even have an equipment mount for? I must have missed it. But it's not a big deal. It was only 8 kilo, or it was only 8 of them, and I don't even know what those mean. Either way, it's something minor, not worth it. So yeah, we didn't lose a whole lot. We actually made most of it there. Um, and yeah, we earned 810,000 credits for that. And then this is our review there. Yeah, that wasn't worth a whole lot of MP. I thought I'm used to ships that give us at least 6,000, if not 6 to 10,000. This gave us 162 because it's one of the beginner ships. So it didn't earn us a whole lot. We will get a decent amount of links tokens, and a repair kit for completing. If you get all 3 salvage goals, they give you a free repair kit, which is a nice thing of the company to do since you're giving them all this money. And we'll go to sleep. And then the next morning, good morning, Shipbreaker. And yeah, so now you can see what we owe. Thankfully, we didn't have to buy a spare. That's a spare U, by the way. That's about 150k a pop. Got your interest rate actually does go down the more you pay down your debt, so that's nice. It's 0.01% interest rate, so currently it is still pretty high amount, but that does decrease the more you pay off. Your bay lease, that's permanent. Salvage transport, that's the barge, that's permanent. Cutting tool rental, grapple tool rental, those are not permanent. You can actually unlock an upgrade that you buy your own, that allows you to buy it, buy your gear off the company. So then you don't have the rental fee anymore. Hab rent, utilities, yep, you're always going to do that. And then the rest of that you can actually buy with links tokens up there, which you get for doing your job. The bigger the ship, the more you get. I think we got like 5 on that one total, so not much. But again, that was an early ship. But yeah, so you can mitigate your costs quite a bit, bring down those daily fees quite a bit eventually. It just takes a lot of hard work. Yeah, we didn't really gain much on that. But I do want to show you some of the other ships while we're here. So now here's our more bigger ships. We've got Station Hopper, which is a little transport. So it's got more seating and TV screens and stuff in it. This is a Exo Lab, so it's got a lot of like communications equipment, sometimes equipment arms, stuff like that. We've got 2 of those. Heavy cargo, that's pretty nice. And here's our javelins. Here's some javelins. So here's a refueling javelin, which I prefer to do. They're a little bit more straightforward. And then the heavy cargos, which can be interesting but a royal pain. Especially, let's see if I can. Over here, you see right in the middle is the giant fuel tank, which I still haven't successfully salvaged one because I tend to blow them up. Because I can't seem to figure out how to separate the tank from the framework around it without exploding it. So gotta stay away from these because it's kind of irritating. But they can be worth quite a bit of money. Anyway, I think that'll do it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you check out Shipbreaker. I love this game. I spend way too many hours just breaking apart ships. It's very calming, very relaxing. Uh, Sometimes moments of sheer panic as you accidentally screw something up and have to try and fix it. Like the last ship I did, it was a Class 2 reactor, and yeah, I hadn't really worked with one of those since the update. Because Class 2 reactors before the update were just a little bit bigger Class 1s. They're like double-sized Class 1s, so they weren't really complicated. You just pull it out of its socket and drop it down. This one actually was hooked up to coolant and hooked up to thrusters. And yeah, it's like, okay, well, what do I do with this? So, okay, I'll ignore that for now. I'll figure that. I'll strip it out from the nose aft, and then got there and got to the coolant unit, and didn't know that if you deactivated the coolant unit, the reactor started melting down as soon as you cut the coolant to it. So that kind of left me in a panic to break the entire end of the shift part before the reactor melted down. Thankfully, the bigger reactors give you a little bit more time, but yeah, it was kind of a mad scramble to get that out of there. And yeah, if you accidentally detonate something, that can make it kind of send you in panic mode. But yeah, that's all part of the fun. Yeah, yeah, measure twice, cut once, sort of concept. You yeah, you don't forget the next time you encounter that issue. But anyway, yeah, again, I hope you enjoyed it. This looks like your cup of tea. It's definitely worth the money. Um, yeah, I love the game. It's a game I've been wanting to show you guys for a while, and was really wanting to play on a computer that made things look better, like this one does. So again, thank you, my friends, for the computer and adding so much to the quality of the channel. Big thanks to Mouse and Star for that. Um, you guys are fantastic. So yeah, again, I'm going to stop ranting. It's almost 45 minutes at this point. But yeah, if you guys want to see a big one, I'm going to try to get streaming set up by next week, and we might do that on stream. So until then, I'll see you guys next week with some more crew episodes, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.